Hi there, my name is Wayne Hedlund with Wayne Hedlund Consulting. In this video tutorial, we're going to walk through some key ideas and concepts for organizing and structuring your work in Asana so that you have the efficiency and the visibility that you need for yourself, for your team, and for your entire organization. Now, before I begin, hopefully you don't find this to be something that looks familiar, right? This is an example of a random picture I found of someone's garage that is a veritable disaster, right? None of us would want to have to come into this garage and find things or even park our car or whatever it might be. It looks like they got a great house outside, but boy, in here it is a mess. Now, this company here, and I'm not doing this as an advertisement, in Maryland has provided a great resource and tool to help individuals and organize their garage, right? So here is, wow, so really great tools that they are providing to, turn this into something more like this. Now, in Asana, I have found that sometimes organizations struggle trying to get their work structured and organized in a meaningful way. So unfortunately, sometimes it can look and feel like this. What we want is to find this in our organization. And Asana will allow us to do that as long as we understand some basic ideas and principles. And I want to explain why this matters right up front before we get started. Because first of all, if you've been using Asana for a long time, for years, then you're used to structuring your Asana workspace based on teams, and that is the teams that we can create in Asana, and we can put those projects and organize them in there. That is the method that we are used to use to organize our work in Asana. Also, if you are using the personal or the starter tier of Asana, then that is how you're going to probably organize and manage your work. That said, if you've upgraded to the advanced or one of the enterprise tiers, or if you've just realized, hey, the navigation has really changed and we need to make sure that we pivot and shift our thinking, this is the video that's going to help you move towards that new idea and structure. So with that in mind, let's talk about how we can really get to the place where things are set up in a way that's going to be reasonable and meaningful for everybody. So the first thing is we have this new navigation, and if you haven't watched the video I've created so far, I did create a video that walks through the different groups and how to use this navigation efficiently and well. I'm not going to walk through that here today. Where we're going to spend our time is going to be in work and in people. And let's just start off and talk about the shift that needs to happen for you to structure your work efficiently and effectively as a team and an organization. And that is shifting from trying to organize our projects from the team perspective and instead using portfolios. If you look here, I'm logged into my demo workspace with Alan. And you'll see here that as I mouse over these various folders over here, I can see a number of projects that I have quick and easy access to. And you probably already know these are portfolios. A portfolio in Asana is basically a folder or an advanced folder where we can visualize and organize work or projects that we have, tasks and items that we're trying to manage together. But it's really much more than that. It's not just a navigation tool. It is also a space where we can visualize work, where we can understand what's going on from a dashboard perspective, be able to see who's doing what, when, and where, what's behind, what's not. We've got status updates, workload, a ton of other things. But again, this video isn't about how to use portfolios. This video is about organizing or structuring our work. So what we want to understand is that portfolios are the key space or place where we are going to structure and organize the projects and the work that we're trying to manage. A couple of things that are important when you're doing this. First of all, keep in mind that anyone can create a portfolio, and actually I encourage organizations to allow individuals to create their own private portfolios, especially if they have a lot of work or projects that they're managing. That said, it is wise to establish portfolios that are shared either across the entire organization or at the very minimum are shared amongst specific team members or even teams. That is, the teams or the people that we have established in the people section. With that in mind, it's also wise to create some naming conventions and possibly even some governance around how we're using portfolios. So definitely create those portfolios that are designed for teams and for the organization to have visibility on projects, and structure them well. Keep in mind as well, though, you want to give your people, if possible, the ability to create their own portfolio that are just private to them so that they can organize and manage the work that's specific to them. The second thing I'll mention with that is it's actually quite important that your individuals and your team members understand the concept of starring or favoriting the portfolios that they have. That gives them the visibility over here in the starred section so that they can quickly and easily navigate and access what's important to them. And so every single person can curate their own starred section with both projects and portfolios in the work group in Asana. I will also mention, very important, that you can nest portfolios. So my friend Alan has created his own portfolio called Alan's Important Work, and he has a number of projects that he wants to be able to access very quickly. But he's also created another, or has added into this portfolio, another portfolio called Team Projects. So he doesn't have to star the team projects and gum up his starred section. All he needs to do is add it to his Alan's Important Work portfolio, and now he has quick and easy access. Again, if we think of a portfolio as kind of an advanced folder where we're putting our resources or our work, similar to a folder on OneDrive or some other cloud-based drive, it's similar in concept in Asana. It's allowing us to organize our resources and our work in meaningful ways. We can have as many portfolios as we want. We can share them amongst the various teams, etc., etc. But the key is to remember that portfolios are now the place and the space where we are going to establish our structure that we're using to organize the work that we have. So let's talk for a moment. Oh, and let me just mention one other thing about this with portfolios. Again, we're not getting into the details of all the other amazing features in portfolios, but I do think it's wise to remember or to highlight that we have the ability in portfolios to, add various custom fields in here. Case in point, division custom field. And if I want to, I can, add these custom fields to allow me to have, more context or information about these projects. And then don't forget to also leverage the ability to also create custom views or layouts. So I can group this, for instance, by priority and very quickly see the different projects that I want to organize by priority. Same thing, I can do that with portfolios as well, give them a priority or give them a division, etc. So keep in mind, those are some of the features that are really going to help you structure and organize your work, not just in the navigation, but inside this space as well. Case in point, my FY27, this is showing me not just the projects that are part of this initiative, but it's showing me them by by priority. I also can see that we're off track right now because we have a lot of overdue tasks amongst all of these projects. So the entire initiative or portfolio is off track. And again, all of this is part of organizing and managing our work in a meaningful way. Now, let's very quickly talk about people or teams. Obviously, in Asana, we have the ability to also create teams. And like I said before, if you're using the personal or starter tier, you're used to using teams to kind of organize your work. Moving to portfolios, we have so much more ability to establish in our garage these amazing, organization so that things are going to be a lot easier for us to navigate. But I will highlight that, remember, teams are really about people. They're about the members or the individuals who are part of that particular group or department or team. We still might be able to see some of the work that's in there, but keep in mind that projects no longer have to live in teams. They can live in portfolios and not live in a team if we want to. Also keep in mind with teams that teams are still associated with our strategic initiatives, our goals, our OKRs, or whatever we're using in Asana to manage those high-level goals that we're trying to track and manage using the goals feature over here in strategy. Those teams give us the ability to be able to connect the teams or the groups of people or departments to those goals. So when we're structuring Asana, we still want to make sure that we have in mind teams are associated with groups of people, but they might also be associated with people who are accountable or groups of people who are accountable to some of our strategic initiatives, OKRs, goals, etc. All right, the last thing I will mention before I finish up here is to also highlight that inside of a portfolio, we can also connect or attach templates. So with that in mind, it used to be that we would go over to a team, and this is where we might, create a new project is inside of a team. And if I did that, this project would automatically be part of marketing communications. Or perhaps you're used to coming up here and clicking on the Create tab and creating a new team here. So my recommendation most of the time is to, if you already have a portfolio that's already associated with the new project that you're going to create, go ahead into that portfolio first. Then create your new project. And when you do, that new project will automatically be added to that portfolio. Of course, your best practice is once you get into that project, you still want to add it to any other portfolios because, of course, projects can be part of more than one portfolio as needed. But with that in mind, I'll also just remind you or highlight for you that we can go into a project and connect templates. Case in point, I've got some templates that my friend Alan has access to, and perhaps he constantly is doing marketing campaigns, so he can add the marketing campaign to his portfolio. And when he does, when it's time for him to establish a new marketing campaign, instead of jumping over to a workflow or to people or searching for that template, he doesn't even need to start here anymore. All he needs to do is jump in to that portfolio right here where the drop down is, and now he can just go ahead and create a new project from that template right here in this space. And when he does, it will be created inside of that portfolio. All right, all that said, high level, pulling back, as we structure and organize our work in Asana, we're going to hopefully have some strategic conversations with the important people or stakeholders in our organization to say, how do we want to structure and organize our work or our projects? And ideally, we're going to use portfolios, and we're going to strategically create those portfolios that will be associated with the teams or the initiatives or the groups of work that we want to track and manage. And then don't forget, we can nest. Don't forget that individuals can still create their own. Go ahead and set up the governance you need to or naming conventions so that people can quickly and easily search the portfolios or folders that they need to have access to. And then also don't forget to give visibility to the appropriate people inside those portfolios, including, if necessary, giving them access to any project that is added to that portfolio, regardless of whether or not they have been invited in the individual project or not. All right, that was a lot. Hopefully you found this meaningful and helpful to help you visualize and organize and structure your work in Asana. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fabulous day.